What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. It's time for 𝑬𝑨𝑻 Lawn Care. We are in November. This is the 28th of November. As you can see, leaf job. I'm sure a lot of people out there already tackling these type of jobs. If you do them the right way and price them the right way, they're very profitable. So without further ado, let's get into what this video is about. As you can see in the top corner, in the top left-hand corner, I'm just going to drop a few tips that I feel will help you be successful, that were successful to me in this season. And I'm just going to get started. The number one thing that I want to point out, because it's probably a problem all across the board, is making sure you have a great inventory of your equipment, just in case a thief was to come into play into your business. What do I mean? A lot of people, I'm sure, have been hit this year in lawn care business by someone taking something off their vehicle that doesn't belong to it, whether if it was going to an open trailer, or even going inside of an enclosed trailer, or breaking into a storage unit, or whatever the case may be. I'm sure that somewhere across the lawn care industry, somebody was affected by this unfortunate event this year. And I want to say one thing that can help you guys. It may, help you at the end of the day if, law enforcement comes into play and a police report was done and your equipment may be found by law enforcement. You may, and what I'm getting at, I know I'm dragging it out, is having your serial numbers of all your equipment documented. Each piece of equipment usually has the serial number somewhere along the engine, somewhere on the frame. A lot of the lawnmowers have their serial and model numbers under the seat. You just want to make sure you take the time to write that down and even store it in your phone. That way, if anything happens and your equipment was tracked down, you can pull up proof that it is your equipment, and if it's still in working order, or if it's not, for insurance purposes, you have the proper documents for, getting things back in order. Also, when you buy this new equipment, depending on the dealer you get it from, their thing is also to write down the model and the serial number, just because of warranty and things like that. That way, if something happens and you have to take it back to them for repairs, they also have it documented. So if something does happen and you didn't have your serial number, you can always refer back to, if your dealer does the right thing, back to them and get them to pull the information from your purchase date and the information off the mower or whatever it is, and get that to law enforcement. The second thing, and these guys are by no means in any order, the second thing that I would say is a good tip for 2024 is, I see Jeff's Lawn Care already doing it. Shout out to Jeff over at Jeff's Lawn Care. Is marketing already. Yeah, a lot of us are at the end of the season where business pretty much came to a slow halt, and like I said, you are doing leaf jobs or other odds and straw maintenance, flower bed, whatever you're doing, in this line of work in this time of the year, in the winter time. Marketing, make sure that's something, if you're brand new, I'm not talking to people that more so out here that have been veterans in the game, 3-4 plus years in the game, and already kind of got some things figured out. If you're brand new, 2024 is your season to step out here and get into the lawn care business. Your marketing should be something you're doing right now. And when I say right now, I mean during the slow months, where you can go out and tackle marketing. It's not a hard thing to do. You can market many different ways. I'm not going to spend too much time in saying how, because all you have to do is Google it, and or Facebook is one of the main marketing things that people use, for their local area. So marketing, do your research on how to do your marketing, and go ahead and get to it. Being at the season of 2024 is literally coming right around the corner. So marketing right now, get that in your mind on what you're going to do to market. The third thing I'm thinking about right now is, for those of us who are at a slow stop, to a halt pretty much, making sure your equipment is taken care of repair-wise during the winter time. So when the spring comes around, straightened out, and just a few other odds and ends. Mostly of my repairs are going to be to my mower, just to make sure that that's the main breadwinner. I don't have a backup mower still yet, but my mower is my main focus right now in the off season when it comes to making sure it is, taken care of for the winter, and I can go out there come in the middle of March, early April, as soon as it's time to get back to it. I can go out there and turn that key, and I know, without a shadow of a doubt, it's pretty much ready to go, and it's going to last me throughout the season. Minus the hiccups that's going to come regardless. But I'll know that during the wintertime, I've got the majority of the main things taken care of, just because it's not being used as much, and I don't have to, go out of commission during the wintertime. So making sure your maintenance is taken care of during the wintertime is another tip. And my fourth tip would be, right now, before I give a pause and continue the video, is as I'm giving these tips out right now, do not feel afraid to reach out and seek advice from people. YouTube, as I've said it, and I'll keep saying it, I'll preach it till I'm blue in the face, has so much free knowledge out here that a lot of your questions can be answered by watching just a simple video. But if you ever get to a point to where you feel that you just can't figure something out, rather if you reach out to someone through social media, or rather if you reach out to another, landscaping company, lawn maintenance company in your area, and get some questions from them and answers from them. You can sit there and run into several lawn care people at a gas station and have a 5 or 10 minute conversation that could change your business mindset on how you're doing things. Maybe they'll give you an idea on how to do better at something, or pricing, or anything. So my point and my fourth tip is, don't be afraid to seek advice, and make sure you're doing the best you can to be better at your half of your business. So guys, stay tuned. I'll be back with the last few tips. Just sit back, hopefully you enjoy it. Guys, the fifth thing I would think about is, a tip is, during the hard times in the lawn business, everybody is going to go through some type of, struggle. It happens to everyone. For the ones who, openly show you and take you along through, the good, bad, and the ugly times that we all face. If you get to a point to where you just feel overwhelmed, and or you feel like you just can't take it anymore, running your own business, this refers back to the last thing that I said when it comes to seeking advice. And I would say on that behalf, just seek some type of help if you get to the point where you're overwhelmed. Stop what you're doing, take a deep breath, go back to the drawing board, and start figuring out exactly where things started to take a turn for you when it comes to the good days. 1 week, you can have an awesome week, and then all of a sudden the following week, things can start crashing. Some of the main things that can happen, and it goes back to my third tip was equipment and automobiles. A lot of us, Joseph over there, with Yard Masters, I believe, has vehicle problems. Cutter Squad, Joe with Cutter Squad has yard problems. Chris with Lawns by Turf has some, vehicle problems. And those are some of the main problems that can put a dent into running your own business, because fixing vehicles and getting parts and everything nowadays are so hard to an extent, depending on exactly what you're trying to get repaired. And, that stuff can definitely take a toll on you, because now you're dipping into the income that you had, hoping that, that income can be used in other areas versus, repairs on vehicles, or your vehicle just completely putting you down. Now you have to search for another one. So if you start going through stuff like that, guys, I'm sure, if you watch these guys' channels, they'll probably say the same thing. If it gets to the point to where, it's wearing you down or whatever, just seek some advice, seek some type of help somewhere where, you're able to stay on your feet and not fall. You may be, as myself, a solo operator, but from what I've seen so far, the lawn care industry, if you get in contact with the right, individuals, you have some support in your corner. So that's my 5th tip. And I would say my 6th tip would be, just taking care of your account is a main thing. And I could say that actually would be one of the top tips I should have, addressed. And when I say account keeping, that means, pretty much all your bookkeeping. Everything you need for tax time, everything you need far as, when it's time to, pay your taxes and everything. Make sure throughout the year that you're doing some type of accounting, whether you're doing it yourself, whether you have someone that does it for you. I know there are a lot of places out here that offer bookkeeping, that take all your notes. I guess you take your receipts and everything to them, and for whatever they charge, they take care of all of that for you. That way, when tax time, which is right around the corner, comes around, all you have to do really is pull up a PDF file on the computer, and or if you like myself, old school, just open up a notebook and there's everything right there on the table. So make sure your account is something, if you didn't do as good of a job this season, make sure for 2024, if your account keeping was, an issue, try to make sure that's something you try to prioritize for the new season. Because guys, we know now that 3 letters that nobody wants to hear is IRS on your ASS. So guys, just being responsible with our accounts is something that will help you out also. A tip number 7 I would say is, if you're solo, and this is mostly for the solo operators, take on what you can handle. I'll keep saying this until I can't say it anymore. As you can see, I'm solo all year round. From spring through winter, I am solo operator. The dog days of summer are the absolute worst here in my area, because the heat, humidity alone, by the time, let's just say you get outside and it's 8 in the morning and you're drenched in sweat, that's just not good. Hydration is something that you have to do in certain areas more so, because the heat and the humidity is just brutal. And I titled a video, a while ago, your body's check engine light. Be mindful when your body's starting to feel like it's starting to shut down out here being a solo operator, because you're doing everything. You're getting off the truck, you're mowing, you're weed eating, you're blowing, you're edging, you're doing whatever you got to do on these properties. If you're solo, my tip would be, choose what you can handle as a solo operator. And also, if you're going to tackle something big, make sure you have your pricing right and make sure it pays off in the end. And I would say my 8th tip is, pretty much to really just choose your service wisely. It just falls into the same thing. A lot of people are just strictly mow, blow, and go, and weed eat, trim, and around the yards and edging. You got to choose your equipment and your services wisely to get those jobs done. So all in all, what I'm trying to say is you are your own individual if you're out here solo. And I've talked to a couple solo operators that I'm around, and we all come up with the same points of view. Is what makes it hard on a solo operator is carrying the entire load by yourself. And once you've carried that entire load, you run into an individual, per se your customer, that acts as if your price is a bit too much for what you've done by yourself. Well, me and someone just had this conversation literally about a couple of days ago. Is once it gets to the point to where you're not, seeming like I'm going to deal with you when it comes to making payments for services that you request, I'm not taking that into 2024. Once you show me one time that you're going to be a hassle when it comes to payment, I'm not dealing with you. You're off my route. You're off my list. And you can find someone else. Because at the end of the day, what we do out here is golden to a lot of people, because a lot of people's yard is their pride and joy. So, guys, I'll be right back. Hopefully all of what I'm saying is making sense. I'm just going off the top of the head and hoping this makes sense to someone. So, guys, I'm going to wrap this video up here in a few minutes with the last few tips. I'll be back with you shortly. And guys, I think I left off on tip number 8. The last things I want to say, and I'm going to wrap this video up, is making sure you have good communication skills with your clients. And a few examples I would say when I say good communication skills with your clients is, if you can't make it on an assigned day, just let them know via text or phone call or however you communicate with them. Hey, I'm not going to make it. We'll probably have to come out another day to get things taken care of. I'm sure this is not too big of a problem for, these larger companies with more people. I would say the only thing that would really kind of slow them down would be the weather. But these guys with 3 and 4 different service trucks that's going each direction, I'm sure that, that too much won't be a problem. But most so for the solo guys, if you can't get to something, within a timely manner or whatever, just make sure you have good communication with your clients. And the last 2 things I want to wrap up with is having fun doing what you're doing. That's what it's more so about. If you can have fun doing this, it is profitable, it is rewarding, especially if you just enjoy working outside. And just go out and be at one with nature and enjoy what it has to offer. A lot of people nowadays, more so, don't go outside as much as before, and they have their own reasons why. I know back when COVID first came out, everybody was afraid to seem like even go outside and breathe. But man, outside is just such a wonderful thing. And being in lawn care industry, that is 99% of what our job title indoors is, being outside. And the last thing I'll say is, when you get into doing this type of stuff and you're big on doing it on social media and trying to be somewhat of an influencer on others, just be mindful that it may or may not work out to your advantage. And I'll just leave that at that. Social media is a great thing. It's a blessing and a curse at the same time. And we just gotta take it for what it is. So y'all, I hope you got something out of these tips. I'm checking out of here. If I don't see y'all or holler at y'all before Christmas, Merry Christmas and have a Happy New Year. This is Simon from Grant's Lawn Care, and I'm checking out of here. Peace.